Often than not, all these entities have clear positions about what they need Africa to do. It's not clear to me that Africa has a clear position of what it wants to do with those partners. And if we don't have clarity about securing both the capturing value of critical minerals and enhancing value through value addition and participating in the global supply chain of these critical minerals, these summits can reproduce what the Berlin conference did. So it's a moment to appreciate that we're in a resource scramble for the continent, and the leadership of the continent, its private sector, its civil society, its academics, need to come together to package an approach that can really strengthen Africa's bargaining power. The numbers are fascinating. Jagan has already mentioned that we secure in Africa 30% of the critical minerals needed. It's called critical because they are critical for energy transition to build a decarbonized global economy. But they must also be critical for Africa's future. They must be critical for building Africa's sovereignty, for building Africa's capacity to bargain with others in order to maximize the transition from being a resource-rich continent to a well-developed, transformed continent through integration of the critical mineral sector into the rest of the economy. If we don't do that, we reproduce the legacy of the past, where the Malawian development economists called it dualism and enclavity. You grow a small enclave economy of minerals, but the proceeds are not directly linked to addressing the triple burden of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. So you produce so much, but there's no evidence for transformation. So to do that, a number of things are needed to be done, including by this parliament, because the numbers are impressive. In 2023, the African economies exported 266 billion of critical minerals. That is 10.6% of global trade, but it's only a fraction of the total value chain. Global revenues from copper, from nickel, from cobalt, lithium are estimated at 16 trillion over the next 25 years. These are the resources that the continent has, from DRC, Zambia to Zimbabwe. We do have these resources. So if there is a proposed $16 trillion to come as revenue over the next 25 years, where is Africa positioning itself to bargain strongly so that it has a place in securing the value of its own resources? And this is, I think, the challenge that every parliamentarian should be asking their executive at home, and every parliamentarian should be asking the African Union these very questions. What is the share of the continent of the 16 trillion that is expected to be bargained in the next 25 years? Another issue is that